Bam. All right, we're live. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the POINT3 podcast.
Live.
The episode before the episode. Yes, the live. How are we feeling tonight?
Feeling good. It's been a while since we've done a live, and I'm happy to be back.
Yeah.
So,
Lots going on. Lots to talk about. Spider-Brando, you did something really, really interesting this past weekend.
I was able to go to NYCC, and don't mind me as I clean my glasses and talk.
I'm jealous.
I was about to
Jealous
say the
of cleaning
same
my
thing. I
glasses?
will. No, I was going to say I'm totally not jealous over the fact that you went to NYCC, but I am.
Dude,
Yeah.
there's so many Funkos there. Oh my god, they had Toy Temple, had a booth there.
Oh, I usually check them out on Whatnot.
Yep. Oh, I forgot what other famous. I can't remember off the top of my head, but just my friends kept on losing me because I was just going from booth to booth to booth to just to look at all the Funkos and see everything I couldn't afford, couldn't bring home. I saw a $5,000 who was it? Steve Kerr, I think, from the Celtics. Steve Kerr, is that who it is?
Larry Bird.
Larry Bird. Oh, it might
Yeah, I
be
was
Larry
going to
Bird.
say.
Yeah.
It might
I
be
think
Larry
that's who it
Bird.
was. I think that's who it was.
Some of those sports Funkos are
They go for a
outrageous.
lot. I got to see firsthand the Amazing Spider-Man 1 Funko, like original, which
How
was
much
cool.
does that go for? Is it $3?
They were selling it for $350.
$350. Wow.
Yeah, and
That
then
sounds like it's gone down, no?
I
It
think
might
so.
have, right? After all the
But-
Spider-Man hype.
Yeah, no, it was a great time seeing everybody cosplay and just people like us in one vicinity was cool.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much just stranger interaction that felt natural because we all enjoy the same stuff. When I was waiting for my Shamik Moore signature, I should probably whip that out.
I'd say
When I was, I'll go through the story first. When I was waiting online for the signature, I made friends with this guy that was right next to me, and our whole little like group area we're just talking and chatting a lot. It was great just to learn about his collection, like what he does for a living, and just kind of connect through the power of these superhero topics and pop culture stuff.
Dude,
but let
that's
me go
the
get
best,
the goods real quick.
Do it.
Yeah.
Speaking of, he was mentioning that. We'll throw this out here until he comes back. Rumor has it that the Sony Marvel live action cinematic universe is technically officially a part of the MCU. Did you guys hear that or see any? I've seen that all over social media.
I have not.
I haven't seen a single thing on that.
I heard that like it's supposed to be post this like reboot or Secret Wars reboot.
I mean, listen, we know from the Venom symbiote, Tom Hardy's Venom, that was in the post-credit scene and all that. So, I mean, you could technically say that, but I've seen reports, again, speculation and rumor, that even the upcoming stuff, Kraven, Madam Web, that's all MCU.
That'd be interesting.
That would be pretty interesting. They fumbled a huge bag with couple massive bags with being able to like make it known from Morbius or these past flops.
Yeah, we can.
But give me the keys to Sony.
That's
all I asked for.
We still need an episode on that.
Yeah.
We've been talking about that, but in the meantime, show us that pop. We'll give you the keys to that.
Yeah.
We got this. No one saw that. Beautifulness right here.
Ooh.
It's
How
so
cool is it? Did he say anything? Did you get a chance to talk to him?
Not really. He was kind of like, they had like a sign that said not to take pictures like when you're up there, and then his manager was just like staring at me the entire time, so I couldn't even like try to like flick a pic. But he wasn't from what I heard with the Guardians actors and their like signatures, they were much better. Like when it came to fan interaction, they were like actually talking to the fans as like they're going up to the signature. Shamik kind of just like took the pop. They had the workers there had like they scanned my ticket, asked for like they saw the quote, character name, and other like add-on stuff that you had to pay for. Kind of wrote it all out, got it set up, and then once they put it on the table, Shamik took it, signed it, and like did his thing and just said like thank you.
He did
And
his
that's
own
kind of
thing.
it.
He did his own thing.
Oh well, I meant yeah.
No, I can
Like
imagine it has to be hard to be a
But
celebrity.
it's gotta be. I'm not like I tried to be as respectful. Like I didn't really try to like go out my way to talk to him because I know he's probably having hundreds of these other fans trying to ask him all these questions and shit.
Yeah.
So, but it was kind of like hearing how the other people and like celebrities were doing their signings. Probably with the Guardians group, they had like a whole group together, so it probably was like easier for them to like interact compared to just like one person. And Shamik's line was like, "There's so many last minute tickets that got added or that were like still available." So it was very mismanaged, and I think it was just kind of overwhelming for him, which I don't blame him.
And you said that he had to come back from like a break or something, right?
Yeah, so they had him signing from like 11:30 till 1:50, but then he was a little late, I believe. So nothing really started till like 12:30 till 1:50, and then he had his photo ops in between them. So then they knocked out all his photo ops, and he got back at like 2:30, 2:45, a little late. Or a little later than expected.
Just imagine that though for a second. Like this is a set event and this is planned for the most part, you know, for better or worse. But after Across the Spider-Verse, you got to think like, man, that's this guy's life.
Yeah.
We're not talking about outside on the street, family, like friends, all that kind of stuff. Like legitimately all of these scheduled appearances where it's just like, you got to feel like it's a numb at some point. I would love to have someone on the podcast who's done this and just to like pick their brains and just be like, tell us about today's current experience. Like, how is it with because I feel like it's a newer fan base. You know what I mean? Like same old NYCC, which is, you know, simplifying it obviously, but for everyone else it's brand new, but for him this is something he does all the time.
Yeah, it's constant. It's his job in a way. It's part of his job. And
like, are you just like, dude, my alarm went off, I gotta go sign some crap.
I was gonna say, no matter how much you love your job, there's has to be days where you're, for everybody, you know, there's a day where you wake up and you're like, man, I'm not in it today. I'm not in it. And
he looked like he was having one of those days on Friday.
And I mean, it happens.
Friday, you know, maybe if it wasn't scheduled for Saturday and he's like, dude, I got stuff to do. Like, I gotta go. That's awesome, though.
I have a question. What was the best cosplay you saw? Because I think NYCC.
Dude, I saw heat.
NYCC is kind of like synonymous with cosplay. So what was if you had to pick just one, the best one, and then you can give us some honorable mentions, but you know. What was your favorite one?
I think my favorite was that I saw a Batman Who Laughs, and this guy did a absolutely phenomenal adaptation on it, and it was cool. Just like when we went through our Batman tier list video and seeing like the Google images of it just like from the comics, but seeing it like in person and someone actually like cosplaying it and paying attention to like all the details and like the little Joker scar mask, helmet wise. Oh my god, that guy did a beautiful job. I saw a cool Kang, which actually I have a really cool story about because it's a small world. Me and my friend were walking by this Kang taking a picture with like a Deadpool. Just I don't know, they're just taking a picture with like a Deadpool, and I tried saying to the guy, I was like, yo, that's like a dope King or a really good King. He didn't hear. And then I said to my friend, I was like, yo, like, look at that king over there. It looks cool. Turns out I was talking to one of my coworkers today, and he's like, oh, one of my best friends was at NYCC. Let me show you some pictures. And it was the fucking king that I was trying to compliment. And I was like, yo, there's no way I just happened to run across them on that Friday and like almost interact with one of my coworkers' best friends. Like, it's such a small world to like really break down and be like, I was like, as soon as I saw the picture, I'm like, yo, I was trying to talk to that guy. That's freaking crazy that it happened.
Yeah.
Did you see any other creators or any other TikTokers that you know of, like maybe in Funko Talk or anything like that?
None, no like mutuals or anything, but I did get to meet a cosplayer in Taya Miller.
Oh,
And she
tell
was
us about
cool.
that.
She was cool, obviously. I was happy to meet her. I've been following her for a very long time.
On social
And
media, not in person. On social
oh
media.
yes, obviously. On
Yeah,
TikTok.
make that very clear, because
Yes.
I was gonna say I've had an interaction with someone where I heard them say that, and cosplayer looked incredibly uncomfortable.
Well. I've been following Taya on TikTok since she had like probably like 10 to 15,000 or something. And I've kind of just been following her on there. So now she's at like 4.7 million. So it's cool to actually like meet her, and I got to chat with her for like 5 minutes or so, and she asked me how the con was and everything, and it was my first like convention like that. So it was cool to talk to her about that and like kind of learn more about how she likes doing stuff for like going to events like that and meeting people with the similar passions. But yeah, she was really nice. So
all right, if you had to redo it again, what would you have done differently?
Book a second day. There's so much to do. I book a second day and more like signatures and panels.
Did you think that there was going to be that much to do?
No, I honestly didn't. Like, I could have walked around. I don't think I walked through like every booth or like everything that like I could have walked through. Most of I had like at least 2.5 hours was just kind of waiting for the signature because it was very disorganized by the people doing the signatures. One suggestion: if anyone from NYCC is watching this, put damn times, put times to reserve your signatures, because it's just like an at table thing, and then it's like, oh yeah, you could go during any one of these times. But then I went at like 11:30, and they're like, oh yeah, the line's filled up already. Come back in 30 minutes, and like we can't accept any more people on the line. I go back in 30 minutes. There's a whole entirely new different group of people at the end of the line. And then I go back again another 30 minutes. There's a whole new different group of people at the end of the line. It's like, oh, you can't just like wait here. So I'm like, what do you want me to do? Just keep coming back and
how
then
did they know?
not being able to get in?
Do you have like wristbands or lanyards?
There's no
you paid for it.
Yeah, there's just like you just got like a ticket with a QR code. And you just say like, oh, like I have like a Shamiqua reservation or something. They really don't check your tickets until you got like to right before the signing. It was so mismanaged and like unorganized. If they had like you should have like been able to reserve times online, like once they got set up, kind of like how you could reserve the panels online instead of just being like at table. Because then they're like, oh well, like if you miss this session, there's another one that starts out like 2. I was online still waiting when they're like in between the sessions, and like in the middle, like I actually got like online into the, I don't know how to describe it, but into like the line and not like the waiting line for the line. So I was like, let me just get this over with. I don't care how long it takes. I'd rather just get it over with than miss the signature reservation altogether. But it could have been handled so much better. Like, so that was my one complaint. I would definitely like to go second day though. So actually, my friend that I met when I was getting the signature that I mentioned earlier was telling me that this was his second year going. Last year he went just one day. This year he's a native like Brooklyner, so it's pretty close of a travel for him. The last year he went one day. This year he booked 2 days, and then next year he's going to book 3 days because he's learning each year and year that there's just so much stuff to do.
From what I've heard from a lot of people, and from what I've been seeing, especially on this round of New York Comic Con, from a lot of people that went this year for the first time, some mutual, some not. A lot of them were saying that it really seems like Thursday, Friday, and then Sunday are the best days because Saturday is dome packed. Is from what I've heard. Saturday gets stupid packed, and then like Thursday and Friday are kind of like they're ramping up, but those are probably the slower days. And then Sunday also is good because from a comic and Funko perspective, collectibles, people want to offload stuff, and they don't want to take it home. You know,
yeah, that's true. You probably have a lot of good deals.
Some drive states, so you know.
At one vendor on Friday, they had like a buy like 3 Funkos get 2 free. And I was like, "Fuck, gonna make me act up."
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome.
But from talking to a staff member of this year's NYCC, they told me and my friend that this year was like the most packed that they've had in a while, like people wise and like fan wise, but like the most like underwhelming when it came to like celebrity and guest appearance stuff. Like sure, they had Chris Evans and Ewan, Shamik Moore, like the secondary like Guardians cast, you could say.
Yeah.
But in previous years, they always had like surprise guests like planned or celebrities just showing up like randomly unannounced or just like randomly like last minute guests. If anything, there's just a lot of cancellations this year, and whether that be due to like the strike and some actors not really like wanting to go out and potentially talk about or get questioned about certain things. But it seemed like the celebrity appearances that did happened on Saturday from what I was seeing, and I was a little upset I wasn't there. Like the Kid Cudi. I got this freaking Kid Cudi tattoo, and he didn't even go on he like randomly got announced a week before, 2 weeks before that he was coming in on Saturday. I was so mad.
I think I remember also reading something about him going on Thursday because he's teaming. It came up across my my Instagram. He's making a comic with someone.
Yep.
I didn't get to read all the details.
Was either a concert that he was doing in Brooklyn on Thursday, or he was just going there on Thursday. But I'm like, both days around the one day that I chose. So I was a little upset as a big Cudi fan.
It happens.
But yeah, it was like, I know Eli Manning showed up randomly on Thursday. As a Giants fan, I would have been excited to meet him. On Friday, I don't think anyone really like randomly showed up. I think Charlie Cox did on Saturday, dressed up as Bluey.
I saw that.
From what I saw.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was pretty much. They were just saying that it was a little underwhelming when it came to celebrities this year compared to years past, and it sucks because there's so many more fans than years past.
But good thing next year when you double dip on your days, odds are in your favor.
Yeah.
Odds are in your favor. And I was also going to say, I'm also curious to know, and I think we would need a larger audience to know this, or not an audience, a pool of people to ask about this, but how many people go to those conventions or those types of conventions just to meet celebrities? Like, I really wonder, you know, because at least for me, when I think about going to like New York Comic Con, San Diego, I'm thinking about going and looking around the booths and looking at different things, you know, getting exclusive stuff, seeing some of the cool things, meeting people, hanging out. But I also know there's a subset of people that are like, no, I'm going because this year I want to meet Chris Evans or Shamik Moore, you know. But the more days
Yeah.
you do, you can do
Better
both.
the odds, baby.
Yeah. I pretty much went this year just because not like I don't know. Like I kind of like hoped for the chance of seeing Chris Evans or like Ewan and Hiddleston and Shamik Moore. But I just as a New Yorker, I've always kind of wanted to go the past couple years and just check it out and see stuff. So I'm kind of in like the 50-50 area. I'm happy I got to meet Shamik. Happy I got to meet Taya. Did not get to meet Chris Evans or even see Chris Evans or Ewan McGregor. I got to take a picture that I should not have taken a picture of Sean Gunn. So that was cool. I saw Karen Gillan in person. The whole like I think Mantis's, I forgot her name, I'm not gonna lie.
Palm Clement.
Yeah. I think she was there. High Evolutionary actor was there. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his name because I know I'm gonna butcher it. But it was cool. I got to see those people. They kept Chris and Ewan like when they're doing their photoshops and signatures, just like behind these special like secluded curtains or areas, so you like anyone couldn't even really see them.
Yeah.
Kind of sucked.
Still. Sounded like a good time, man.
10 out of 10 would recommend again.
Well,
Love it.
Hopefully next year we're there with you.
Yeah.
For at least 3 days out of the 4. So
that's the goal.
Complimentary VIP passes.
I don't think we'll get that, but
well, listen,
never know.
If we do, I'll take them.
If you are a part of our Discord, you can follow along and see how this next 363 days goes or whatever it might be. But join our Discord, stay on point with POINT3. We talk about community events, extra behind the scenes chats with us, share your collections, pretty much everything we just talked about for the last 20 minutes. We can do that all together, grow the community, and maybe we can have our own little POINT3 party out in New York. Maybe spend some, time on Saturday. Skip Saturday. We'll go Thursday, Friday, Sunday. Who knows? Maybe we want to drop that much money. I don't know. But no, definitely check out the POINT3 podcast anywhere you follow on socials, Spotify. What else are we missing? Apple,
Google. Are we on Google?
Yeah. We're all over. But real quick, we haven't talked about this, guys. Loki season 2, high level, real quick. We have a few minutes left. How is everyone feeling about Loki season 2 so far?
I watched episode 2 again during my lunch today, just because of how much I enjoyed it. I'm loving season 2.
Yeah,
they did what I wanted, and I think what most fans wanted, minus IGN or whoever wrote IGN's review, of just picking up the story and continuing along with it in a way that makes sense. And, continuing the story of the TVA, of Loki, of Mobius, Sylvie. I'm loving it. I'm in for the ride.
Spider-Brando, you caught up with it, didn't you, once you got back?
I did, but I definitely need to rewatch episode 2.
How are you
I watched it
feeling
when
so
I
far?
was. I
General.
loved episode 1. I had me on the edge of my seat the entire time. Episode 2, I watched when I was extremely, extremely sleepy last night, and I think I may or may not have fallen asleep 1 or 2 times. So I remember there's one point where I was like, how did we just get from here to here? So I definitely have to rewatch it. But from what I do remember, it was leading up to be a banger episode. And it was the first 15 minutes of it I remember being extremely invested in. But before I fully say, I think I definitely need to watch that in a clear and remembering state.
No, we're going to be doing a podcast on the first 3 episodes of Loki, so stay tuned for that. But so far, I gotta say, I'm waiting I'm waiting. I'm intrigued by it. I'm curious to see what they're building. I don't know. I think I might have sent this to the group. I or posted it on my Instagram, but they're doing a much better job of building up the threat of He Who Remains once again, where Quantumania crapped the bed. Loki season 2 is picked up and really ran with that as a nice carryover from He Who Remains pleasant surprise in the final episode. And we talked about that in our preview episode that's up on anywhere you listen to podcasts. But I think it's so far falling in line with what we all expected as another .3 consensus per the usual. I have to admit, I'm struggling on Thursdays because Gen V is also dropping on Thursdays. If anyone's watching the Boys spinoff Gen V season 1, I'm really, really enjoying that. And I think I'm kind of enjoying that ride more than I'm enjoying the first 2 episodes of Loki, to where I decided to watch that before Loki.
Ooh, I still have to watch that entirely.
Yeah, I'm not. I kind of forgot it was coming.
It's good.
I've heard it's great.
I've heard, yeah. From what you've said, it sounds good. So
it's interesting. I mean, again, I'm very interested in Loki. I think I'm going back to that 3-episode approach for Disney Plus shows, and I'm like, okay, like that's where I'm at. I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely watching it. Okay, let's see what you guys do, because typically and historically, the 3rd episode is kind of that ramp up where stuff starts to kind of get going crazy. So yeah, everyone watching, stay tuned for that, because we're going to be dropping that. But we do have, really quickly here, the last 5 minutes of our live stream, some quick news, quick thoughts. Spider-Brando, you gonna hit us with the first?
So Kraven. No, wait. Yeah, Kraven was trying to be used for Far From Home. No, not Far From Home. No Way Home. But Sony blocked them from using that until they established Kraven as a character in their own universe, their own movie. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I know Off-Screen Hero had a comment of remembering how he easily felt like Kraven should have been the villain for No Way Home, and it kind of seemed like it was going that way given how Far From Home ended. So I thought that was interesting. Now we'll see what Sony does with their beloved Kraven and Aaron Taylor Johnson later in 2024.
it'll definitely be interesting, because the fact that Kraven really feels like the last big Spider-Man villain that hasn't had his debut on the big screen yet, and for them to be like, no, you can't put him in because we want to do it first on a solo movie, that seems weird. So again, I think it just goes back to an episode that we had a while ago, or I think it was about 2 months ago, when we talked about how the strikes delayed a few things and Kraven was almost a full year out. It really seems like Sony's banking big on Kraven being a big hit and a big character for them.
Yeah, so they could have done a lot with him in the MCU. I mean, again, it's no secret. We wish anything related to Spider-Man would have been incorporated into the MCU. But if we would have gotten him a while ago in that 2018 Phase 3 time, and we could have gotten some sort of Kraven, that would have been great. I don't necessarily think No Way Home he would have been a good appearance. I think he should have appeared, and I think they hopefully in the future take some of these characters and some of the rogues galleries for some of our main heroes, especially in Ace like Spider-Man. You need to incorporate them with other heroes and have more crossovers to kind of have reason to pull these characters in. And that takes me to like a Daredevil, street level characters, New York, all of them. Like, you need to be mixing that bag up a little bit more. But I do think from a live action standpoint, Kraven will be the best thing that Sony has done, period. Besides 2000, whatever it was with Toby.
Let's hope so.
Best decision. One more. What do we got?
Best Buy. Best Buy. RIP to all the physical media collectors and fans out there. If you like steelbooks, then Best Buy won't be getting exclusives anymore, because they revealed late last week that they are planning to just not sell DVDs anymore, to phase that out. I think they said by next year. How do you guys feel about that? Personally, I'm not a huge physical media collector, but I still feel like that's a big hit to everything physical media related, and especially a big hit to Best Buy, because when I think about Best Buy, I think DVDs.
Yep.
And I really feel like that might be the start of the downfall of Best Buy, to be quite honest.
Do you guys remember this topic that we had?
Yep.
We're getting there.
I mean, I think this is the first domino to fall. It's the first piece to fall. And I think next up is now you kind of walk in there. And I mean, yeah, you think about it. You walk through those doors and it's one of the first things that you see a lot of times with these movies by the checkout and the kiosk, little grab and go things.
Yep.
But what's the point, right? If I'm them, why? The steelbooks and all that kind of stuff are cool, but do niche fans really make that segment year over year? Is it profitable for them? Obviously not. So I'll be curious to see how this affects digital streaming prices moving forward, and how I'm assuming they'll go up. I mean, I see a lot of people giving some sort of backlash right now for Spider-Man 2 game, $80, right? $79.99, 20 to 30 hours of total gameplay time. Some people are saying that's ridiculous for that amount of time that I spend. However, it's amazing, and it's consensus one of the greatest follow-up games to anything.
Great scores.
But real quick to that point, that price. Games, I remember when games did not cost that much, and you could at least go to Blockbuster and rent the game, beat it, take it back, or just be like, oh yeah, just swap it out for a different game. No big deal. $80, $90, $100 for some of this stuff. I don't know.
So a very interesting thing. This is live because I have Discord pulled up to the side, and a Discord Discord member. I can't speak. Dylan. This is why you need to be joining us on Discord, because you get to do things like this. But he says he saw a thing where Walmart might start phasing out physical video games starting next year.
I believe it.
And I believe it. I think physical media is on its downfall, and I'm surprised it's taken as long as it has. But it'll be interesting to see how it goes, because things like the Loki and WandaVision steelbook that came out last month, people hated on it, but I saw a lot of people get it. So I'm curious to see how those things will perform, and if maybe it'll change people's minds. Because the thing with video games is, even if certain stores phase them out, like Walmart, which I think Walmart should phase out everything that doesn't have to do with groceries. At least with video games, there is the collectability of it in collectible editions, and even in DVDs, for some. So it'll be interesting to see.
Let me throw this Spider-Brando. I'm curious your thoughts on this. We talk about this when we give box office predictions, and we say, when is this coming out? Movies are turning around quickly when it comes to release, but digital is typically what happens first. It'll be in the movie theaters, it'll release digitally, and then it ultimately comes to a streaming platform near you. How do you think companies are essentially going to position releases now? Does that move up if it's streaming and replace the digital slot that typically happens?
I think it just stays like the way it is now. I think that is the big domino effect that led to no one really wanting physical media anymore, because they could just get it early on online. I have a perfect example, because I am a perfect example with Across the Spider-Verse. That was coming out on digital and streaming like a month later. I had pre-ordered the physical copy of it that came with the digital code, but my over Stanley but my over Stanness for Spider-Man was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna buy the digital copy. So I bought the digital copy, and then I still did not cancel my pre-order for the physical because I like to support the physical. But how many people like me would be buying it twice? Like realistically, you got all these people that want to watch it as soon as possible if it's not going on streaming right away, especially for Spider-Man movies that don't really go on streaming right away. And then boom, they buy it Amazon Prime Video, Movies Anywhere, whatever, and they get it a month early. They never have to think about like the point of buying a physical copy. And all of these movies have been doing that recently. So it's like, what's the incentive to buy physical besides just having a nice collection? As I look up at my former movies and Blu Rays that I used to collect.
And that is true. But then you might have the argument of some that streaming services constantly rotate, and if you're not buying every single streaming service, then you miss out on your favorite movies. So I always think there's
companies don't care about that though.
No,
that's
not
where
at
it's
all.
like they don't care what you can't see or cannot see, and that's the importance of the physical media.
Now,
yeah.
Real quick to that point, do you guys not see a future where companies like a Disney or an HBO Max or whatever they're going to be called in a year, they take what you had just said of they don't care, and they flip a model that says, hey, we care about you. Be a premium member, be a platinum member, whatever they say to make it nice and shiny. You get almost like an NFT thing. You can buy this movie. If you get us something, then you can pull it. We'll send you a digital copy. You're going to be one of the 1,000 or 10,000 or whatever it is people who get a limited edition Across the Spider-Verse Steelbook because you've purchased the movie. It'll always exist in your app as long as you have it. If you cancel, you lose it. But ultimately, you're special. You're a special member. We're going to get you a Steelbook. Here you go. Does that world potentially exist to where they leverage their apps to entice people to not only keep it, but also buy it for $30, $40?
Disney has they have this Disney Movies Insider Club, which is pretty much the reason why I have like a bulk of the MCU movies where you sign up, you buy like one movie and they give you like 7 physical copies for free. And every month they send you a featured title where you could get said thing in like a lithograph for like $35 or something. I've been canceling because.
But is that tied to Disney Plus?
Most likely. No, but I was gonna say that they'll probably eventually use that as like leverage when it comes to like making feature titles as movies that you'll own no matter what, if it's on Disney Plus or streaming service or not. So I can see them turning that like Insider Club into a digital only in the future.
They could also definitely use the interest that they generated with the Loki and WandaVision steelbooks, and easily turn that around and be like, hey, starting in November, here you go, and you have a new tier Disney Plus, and if you're a member of that, every month you get a steelbook or you get something physical, because people do like that. And then what I will say before we end it is that video games are so closely tied to DVDs, because I think they're that same physical media thing of where you have the digital over the streaming. An interesting move that Sony did recently is they announced the new PS5 model last week, I believe. And they talked about how there's not really major differences. It's slimmer, a little less weighty, and a little bit of a different design. But the interesting thing is that if you buy the digital version, you now have the ability, the digital only version, you now have the ability to later on, if you choose so, buy a DVD or the disc hard drive and add it to your PlayStation.
Huh.
And I saw a lot of people say, why would Sony waste their money and time making something like that? And I think it's because there is an interest in people. I think some people have a regret sometimes of being like, man, I kind of want to own it now physically, but now I can't because my PlayStation won't play it. But now it can. So I think there's interest there.
Backwards compatibility. I would love to just plug PS2 games straight into PS5 or whatnot.
One day.
One day.
Or they're going to remake it.
Or
So you
that.
can't buy it again.
Xbox's backwards compatibility 10 times better than Sony's. And that's the one thing it has on Sony.
Fair point.
It's coming from an Xbox stand. And now has a PS5.
Well, everyone, we appreciate you watching this live stream. Definitely shout out to the Point 3 podcast here for getting back together. Spider-Brando putting it together after a wild weekend. We are here on Discord. Join our web of conversations. If you know, and really stay on point with Point 3. All your social media platforms. Check us out. Spotify, Apple, Google, anywhere where you listen to your podcasts. We are going to be giving you some fantastic content. We are wrapping up our series of MCU rankings just in time before the Marvels drops. So stay tuned for that so we can get our final couple episodes out there. But with that, everyone on the live stream, keep reading, keep watching, keep nerding out. We'll see you next one.
See ya.